The United States, our nation, our republic, is on the verge of going up in flames. Let me tell you why. It's not just the fact that the FBI and Justice Department are being used as a Gestapo to quell all dissent. It's not just because of the rampant crime in our major cities. It's not just because of the open borders with drug traffickers, human traffickers, sex traffickers, and terrorists streaming across the border. It's not just based on the fact that our kids are being taught perversion, homosexuality, lesbianism, transgenderism, transsexualism. It's not just that, or that they can get a sex change operation behind the backs of their parents without even informing them. And it's not even the fact that we're on the verge of a nuclear holocaust with China, with Iran, with North Korea, with you name it, with huge amounts of atomic weapons, Russia, of course, as well. We're long overdue for a nuclear accident that will trigger a nuclear war, notwithstanding what's going on in Ukraine these days. But let's look at a micro situation in Texas, where an illegal immigrant kills an innocent family. And in fact, it occurs in Cleveland, Texas. Okay, I get confused because of Cleveland, Ohio. I have a nervous reaction when I think of Cleveland, Ohio, for a lot of reasons we won't get into right here. It's called the Mistake on the Lake. I mean, it's one of the most miserable cities. I lived there for 2 years that you can imagine. But the bottom line is this. The bottom line is that the American people have been subjected to unbelievable tyranny. They don't have a government. They don't have leaders that will represent them. Biden is bad enough. Biden is brain dead. He's a criminal, and he's stupid, and he's destroyed the country in all but 2.5 years. It was well on its way, but he almost finished it off, and we're about hanging there by a cliff. But the Republican Party uses this for effect, and that's the problem. There's no opposition party. What are they going to do about the head of Homeland Security, Mayorkas? Just ask him to resign? I've said this before. They could impeach him today. They could impeach him in an hour with a majority vote in the House of Representatives. But he's not even the problem. He's just the stooge of Biden. He's doing what the Democrats want. They want to open the floodgates of immigration because they believe that these illegal immigrants will vote Democrat. They're changing the demographic of this country. So under our current election system, which is already rigged and fraudulent enough, you'll never see a conservative or libertarian or person of faith ever again elected as president or vice president or whatever in this country. So what do the American people do? Do we sit here and allow this to happen? Is it time to open our eyes and to realize that we don't have an electoral system that represents the people anymore, much like our founding fathers knew that they had no input? They tried. They tried to settle with King George III. He didn't listen to him. He had complete control. The left has complete control. So what do you do when your kids and loved ones are on the line, when their heads are on the chopping blocks, when they're threatened, when they're killed, when they're subjected to perversion in school? What do? Do you go back to the ballot box? I think not. We're on the verge of a major revolution, a counter-revolution, as I write about in my book. It takes a counter-revolution. Now, we at Freedom Watch are trying to use peaceful and legal means for the time being to solve this question. We're trying Biden and his brother and his son Hunter for bribery. We're trying Fauci for negligent homicide, resulting in the death of over 7 million people worldwide. We're trying federal judges who violate their oath of office in the District of Columbia. We're trying Robert Mueller for what he did with the Russian witch hunt, and others are being tried. And I'm convinced they'll be convicted, and we will get sentences, and we will ask law enforcement and the military, if necessary, to carry it out. But if they don't carry it out, we, the people, need to carry it out. We have the right of citizens' arrest, and we're going to have to start being bold because we're not going to have a country at all. This country, again, is on the verge of a virtual bloodbath. People don't realize it yet, but when they come for your kids and they come for your family, you'll feel differently. And I'm not advocating that because there'll be others in this country that go that route, and we don't want to see that. So you, the American people, I want you to go to freedomwatchusa.org. We're the only public interest group that really sticks our neck out. We're the only ones that actually answer to God more than answer frankly, to the generally unjust laws of man, which from parking tickets on up are because man decides it's wrong. God is the one who makes that ultimate decision. We act according to the rules of God. 10 Commandments, that has to be honored. But on the other hand, we cannot just sit back and wait for the end of this country. If you think you can do that, as I say nearly in every broadcast, if you're retired, and you just want to sit there and watch Fox News or whatever, you're as guilty as the criminals who are destroying this country. And if you're young or middle-aged, you better act now or it'll be over. There's a recent poll that finds that 25% of the youth in this country think they'd be better off dead. That's why you have such a high suicide rate. There is no hope. When you see a brain-dead criminal like Joe Biden stumbling along, not knowing where he is, acting, frankly, like a zombie, for lack of a better word, and you see a Republican Congress that just plays games, that doesn't confront this despot, this tyrant, this criminal who is in the Oval Office, when you see the legal system being used to keep people down, to scare them so they can't even wage dissent, much more what's going on with President Trump with phony prosecutions by people who make up claims, like this woman in New York that's suing him for alleged rape. She figured out decades later she was raped. She figured it out finally. And this is given credence by the vile leftist media, which lies to you on a daily basis. Then it's time for the American people to rise up. It is a war between right and left. One side will win, one side will lose. And we have to make sure that our side wins. The left should be relegated to the ash heap of history. The left is pure evil, pure evil. They've been inhabited by the devil. They believe in socialism, communism, atheism, everything but God. And now is the time in his name that we must rise up. So God bless you. Go to Freedom Watch, freedomwatchusa.org. Support us with tax-deductible contributions. Get my book, It Takes a Kind of Revolution, Wake Up America, and join our Justice League. I'll be back tomorrow with another special podcast. Until then, thank you for listening to me. Remember, the Father and Son will only help us if we help ourselves.